Hey everyone, and welcome to Backseat Sports. I'm Josh, that's Caleb, and we're back at it again. Another week of Husker football, coming off a bye week and going into a big old game against the Badgers in Lincoln. As always, it's going to be a tough one, and we're trying to prepare for it. What's up, Caleb?
Oh, had a good bye week. And during that time, I'm sure as many Husker fans did, we watched and looked around the rest of the Big Ten. Minnesota beat Penn State. That was shocking.
Yeah.
And disappointing.
It was a wild week.
Majorly disappointing.
Yeah, it was.
Penn State turning it over. A very questionable offensive pass interference call, I will say. Handed the ski-u-mas that one. As you know, PJ Fleck gave them little diamonds to say, that they sparkle and shine.
They're special.
Yeah, they're special. They're little special guys.
Yeah. It was a weird week in the Big Ten, though. I mean, Indiana's ranked now. That's crazy.
That hurts.
Illinois beat MSU, and so MSU's struggling again. Illinois.
Go Illini. Let's go. Our best win of the season.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. But anyway, with Nebraska this week, it's a 14.5 point spread. So honestly, as a Nebraska fan, that's not too bad. It could have been worse news for sure. And 51.5 point over under, which is pretty interesting. I think a lot of the money's on the under right now. About 77% of the money's on the under right now. So that feels about pretty reasonable. Again, we're coming off the bye week. We got a little bit extra time to prepare. Hopefully find more rhythm, see a little bit more improvement, and hopefully we can make something happen this weekend against Wisconsin.
Yeah, I mean, Wisconsin has definitely looked very human. Obviously, losing to Illinois, Ohio State doing what Ohio State does against them, 38-7, Ohio State. And then a close win over Iowa, who doesn't have much of an offense. They won 24-22 in a good game last week. So there's holes, there's weaknesses in Wisconsin, that's to be sure, but just another solid team. And I guess we'll start talking about their strengths, and the clear, glaring, obvious one is Jonathan Taylor.
What?
What's new here? He's kind of good, I guess.
Yeah, my goodness, man. He's left his imprint on Nebraska the last few years. Oh, no.
All Wisconsin running backs have left their marks.
Yeah, obviously it's been a trend in Nebraska's history these past few years since we joined the Big Ten. For some reason, we cannot stop Wisconsin running backs, and they've done it dirty to us, whether it's Melvin Gordon or James White or anyone else. Jonathan Taylor, they do it dirty to us, and it's very likely that happens again this week. I mean, last year, Jonathan Taylor put up 221 and 3 touchdowns on us on the ground.
And the previous year, he had one more carry, 25 yards for 249 yards and 2 touchdowns, and that's right around 10 yards per carry. So he's averaging a first down every time he touches the ball against Nebraska in these past 2 years. And I am not expecting much different here.
And he's probably in for another good one this week. I mean, last week against Iowa, he had 250 yards and 8.1 yards a carry. So he's been having a good year. He's looking to try to make another run at this Heisman and see if he can get his name back in the race. And if he puts on another massive performance this week, he might be right there. So he's going to be pretty motivated to play a good game.
He's definitely going to get his against Nebraska. I mean, on the optimistic side, we figure out some rhythm. We put in the Garrett Nelson, and he just has the game of his life. But, I mean, that's way too much pressure to put on a freshman, so I don't think that's fair. Yeah. And, we put in some of these young freshmen. We were able to stop him a little bit. But I think realistically, expect Jonathan Taylor, barring an injury, that he's going to have 200-plus yards on Nebraska this week.
I mean, if you were a betting man, if you had to set the line for rushing yards for Jonathan Taylor this week, where would you put that betting line?
230, 235.
Yeah, it might be somewhere in the 200s because it feels like you may as well just slot it in. I mean, to be fair,
yeah.
I mean, Jonathan Taylor at 250, and Iowa had a full-on chance in that game, even though Jonathan Taylor was running it all over him. So
yes,
it's not the end-all be-all for Wisconsin. They have to.
I mean, he is their offense. So
he is their offense.
I mean, it was like Rahmir Abdullah for us a couple years ago. Obviously, we almost lose to McNeese State and whatnot, but we have Rahmir Abdullah, and we're also able to compete with really good teams. So, you can still beat a team that has one of the best running backs in the country. You got your work cut out for you.
Yeah, I mean, offensively, again, Jack Cohn's their quarterback. This is his first year starting, and Cohn's been playing a really good year. I think both of us were really skeptical.
Shocked us.
Yeah, we were really skeptical of Cohn coming into the year. Come on. As a backup last year, you just don't expect that much from the guy moving into this year, and he's been playing really well. I think they coach him pretty well, and they game plan around his strengths and weaknesses pretty effectively, And he's at a 73.2% completion percentage this year, which is really nice, especially exactly what Wisconsin needs. And he hasn't been making mistakes. Yeah, he's a game manager at the end. He's like your 101 game manager. 12 touchdowns, 3 picks on the year, so he's not making as many mistakes as a lot of past Wisconsin quarterbacks have. It's been absolutely massive for them this year. They've been really, really good on third down, and Cohn's been very good on third down as well, like a 76.4% completion percentage on third down. So it is not easy to stop Wisconsin. They're a pretty well-balanced offense for how good of a run team they are.
Quintus Cephas, their best wide receiver, he looked pretty nice against Iowa too. He had 5 receptions, 94 yards, and a touchdown. So you might hear that name a lot, kind of like, WAP. That they're kind of the main. That's the main target for the guy.
No, not WAP. Nothing but WAP.
We warned you about WAP. We knew he was going to crush us.
He tore us apart.
Yeah, and so he's definitely not quite as dangerous as good old WAP, but he's still going to get some yards, get some targets, get some looks. And now let's talk about the important part of the field when you're on offense, the red zone. This has been a horror word for Nebraska this year. It's been terrifying when you hear the word red zone. That means we're probably going to miss a field goal or not score a touchdown. But let's break it down a little bit. So Cohn in the red zone this year is 14 of 23 for 132 yards. That's 60.9%, so like 61%. And he's had 7 touchdowns on a 209 QBR, which is nice.
Oh, now, very nice. Yeah, I mean, Martinez this year, he's been 6 for 17. All right, real great. With only 31 yards and only 2 touchdowns so far this year, 35% completion percentage. It's been tragedy in the red zone for Nebraska if we're trying to throw the ball. I mean, our only success has come on the ground for the most part, and
it hasn't been
it's
great
just been
either.
rough.
We've made you feel really down the dumps, telling you how good Jonathan Taylor is, how Wisconsin's efficient. We're not. But they do have a weakness. Remember, they did lose to Illinois, you guys. And how did they lose to Illinois? And how did they get smacked by Ohio State? And how did they almost lose to Iowa? Turnovers.
Yeah.
Fumbles, to be exact. Not picks, fumbles.
Exactly. No, fumbles have been a real problem for them. I mean, if you go back and look at their
club.
Yeah, I mean, join the club. We know all about that one. But if you go back and look at some of their problems, I mean, it's been the fumbles. They had 2 against Illinois, 2 against Ohio State, and 1 versus Iowa. So they've had a little bit of problem in their losses hanging on to the football, and that's been why they've been losing. And, I mean, if Nebraska's going to win the game, they're going to have to capitalize off that in a miraculous way. I mean, banking on Nebraska to try to recover like 3 fumbles in a game, not your best bet considering our history with fumbles.
Yeah, in the last 15 years, we've been pretty bad at recovering fumbles.
Yeah.
But that would be our hope, is that our defense can really start forcing the fumbles and we can hold on to the ball, which we have in the past couple of weeks. So that's one good thing, but we also need to, stop the turnovers. Now, Wisconsin's defense, they really lean on their linebackers. Really, that's their main core of guys. Man, I wish I could say that about Nebraska. Wouldn't that be nice? So who's leading the defense for Wisconsin? Jack Sanborn. He has 51 tackles, which leads the Badgers in tackles this year. And then they also have another linebacker, Chris Orr, who has 9 sacks and is leading the team.
Yeah.
Just imagine if we had a linebacker who had 9 sacks on the season. Wow.
Man, I wish.
So that means that these guys.
I wish.
And they have another linebacker, Zach Bond, who has 50 tackles, so just 1 behind Sanborn. Has 7.5 sacks. Their linebacking core are the ones who are getting to the quarterback. They're the ones who are applying that quarterback pressure. They're the ones who are getting home most often. And so Nebraska's really going to have to handle that. 3-4 is a much different look than they've seen. They see it a little bit in practice. Not a lot of Big Ten teams run the 3-4. Seeing that on the field against them, against an opponent, is going to be a lot different for them than it usually is.
Yeah, again, I mean, Wisconsin's been incredible getting the quarterback. They're 5th in the country right now in sacks per game, averaging 3.6 sacks per game right now. And that's a stat. Any team that is good at getting to the quarterback against Nebraska is terrifying. I mean, we saw that with Ohio State. Martinez was running for his life all game. You can only expect there's going to be something similar in this one.
With us not being able to pick up assignments in the first place against a good team who likes getting sacks, who is good and efficient at getting sacks, it's going to be a giant problem. So with that being said, that's kind of the landscape of Wisconsin this year. You're going to see some good linebackers. Jonathan Taylor, Cohn's been efficient. But now we're going to go into keys of the game. Josh, what does Nebraska need to do so we have a chance on Saturday to pull an upset that has not happened in years?
the first most important thing is to win the turnover battle.
Amen.
Nebraska's been so bad at it. I mean, turnovers have been a plague for us the past decade, it feels like. Wisconsin's problem this year has been fumbles, and if we can take advantage of that, hop a few, maybe Cam Taylor can pop one out. He's been pretty good at it so far this year. We can get a few turnovers early on, give us a chance in that first half to keep the energy up. That's our best bet to have a chance to stay in this game, and it'll probably take like a +3 turnover margin for us to have a decent shot in this game. I don't even see where we have like +1, like a 2-1 or a 1-0 where we're going to really be in that game. I just think Jonathan Taylor is just going to be tearing us apart.
Yeah, no, Sam, he's going to pick us apart. I agree. I think the thing I'll probably add is that on those turnovers, we have to convert. We had 4 turnovers against Purdue, and we had 3 points off 4 turnovers.
Oh my gosh,
you got to be able to take those, and I mean, you got to turn those things into points. And I mean, yes, I turnovers are going to be integral for Nebraska, but we got to be able to score on them. We got to be able to score in the red zone. Obviously, we talked about that up there, but red zone scoring is going to be huge. We need to figure out a way to get ball in end zone. It's kind of the name of the game at the end of the day, so we're going to have to figure out how to do that. You can't just drive and get yards. You also got to get points, and Nebraska has been bad at that, and so we're really going to have to figure that out this week.
I mean, defensively, if you can do anything to force Jack Cohn to beat you instead of Jonathan Taylor, I mean, that's obviously what you're trying to do out there. That's a lot easier said than done, though. Our linebacking core is going to have their hands full. Our front seven as a whole is going to have their hands full. Again, Wisconsin is known as O-line U for a reason. Their front 5, again, feels real nice. They're going to have a pretty good chance to dominate this game on the line of scrimmage.
Both their fronts, their O-line and their D-line, they're going to be nasty. We got to find a way to get tough to start getting some push, getting some yards for our running backs. We're going to have to be balanced. We're going to have to be in a balanced attack this week to really have a good chance. Another thing is Adrian Martinez's play. I assume he's going to be the one who starts this game. If he wants to continue to start these games, he's going to have a good game against Wisconsin.
Yeah, for sure.
So there was a lot of pressure on him this week. Not that there hasn't been. But with losing to a 2-6 Purdue team last week, missing easy throws, not being decisive on runs, this is a big game on him. There's a ton of pressure for Adrian Martinez this week. The coaching staff might not say so, but I'm thinking that there's a lot of pressure on him.
For sure. I mean, another thing offensively I think we got to try to figure out is somebody else besides Wan'Dale has to move this ball. I mean, last week we saw JD finally got involved. He's been kind of out of it this year for the most part. I know he's had some injuries, but finally last week he got involved, but it just wasn't enough. Wan'Dale wasn't able to get going, and maybe that's some defensive scheming, some offensive scheming on our part. We need both JD and Wan'Dale to get going in this game if we're going to have a chance, make something happen offensively. Anything to get the ball out of Adrian Martinez's hands quick is going to be extremely important. Again, it comes down to the screens, the slants. Any type of quick pass that gets the ball out of his hands is going to be really, really important. Do I trust our offensive line whatsoever? No. I have no faith whatsoever in our offensive line, but we have to figure out a way to schedule around that and game plan an offense that minimizes that weakness as much as possible against a really strong Wisconsin front seven.
Yeah, again, they're going to throw a lot of different blitz packages at us. So we're going to have to know who to pick up. And our offensive line does not know who to pick up on a lot of things.
Sometimes they just run in circles.
And we're going to see, we're going to just run literally into we're going to do a full 360 and let our quarterback get hit. They're going to have a fun time against Nebraska's offensive line, just like most teams have this year. They're going to get a lot of push. They're going to get a lot of sacks. And maybe even probably force some turnovers as well. It's not going to be fun, I think, on that side, and I'm terribly nervous. If our O-line has to play the game of their life, maybe it's like it's like a breakthrough moment for them this week. Like that's the hope, right? That they've just been bad, and then like the light bulb goes off.
Yeah, I mean, I have an idea. How about we just trade offensive lines to make the game a little bit more interesting?
Yeah, transplant them. That's a good idea.
Yeah, dude.
We'll trade you some future recruits. We'll trade you some 4-stars if we can switch our lines.
How about that, Wisconsin? Such a great deal. It's so good, I promise. Well, I think with that said, we can go into predictions. I'm not confident. I'm really, really worried about this game. I've got us losing 34-14. Again, I hate picking us to lose games. It sucks. But Wisconsin's a great team, man. They're really well balanced. Their offense just matches up with our defense really, really well.
Yeah.
When our defense struggles to get the outside, we struggle to penetrate. And when we have very unathletic linebackers on the edge, Wisconsin can get to the edge, They can beat you through the tackles as well. And I just don't think our front seven is going to be able to keep up whatsoever. I think they're going to get dominated just like they did against Ohio State. The game plan is there now. Offense is to bully our front seven. And
you just running powers on either edge or stretches. Exactly. We're done.
It happens. And I'm pretty sure Wisconsin's going to be able to effectively do that. The only way this game doesn't go how we're all worried it is going to go is if turnovers are the difference. I just don't trust our defense to be able to make that happen against a good team like Wisconsin. And not to mention, I think our O-line is going to absolutely lose that battle as well. And Martinez will be running for his life. And probably not going to be able to do very much offensively for most of this game. Not to mention, I think our linebacking core is going to get sucked in by their play action. And we're going to be in massive trouble.
Like Minnesota.
So, just like Minnesota. So, yeah, I got to start losing 34-14. It's not going to be pretty.
Mine's worse. I think we're going to be able to score more points, though. Unlike Ohio State, where their defense is, just great. Obviously, Wisconsin's is great, too, but not Ohio State great. So I think we lose 42-17. We can't stop the run. We're not going to be able to stop Jonathan Taylor. And if he's looking for a Heisman moment, I feel more likely that Jonathan Taylor will run for 300 yards this game than we will win. There's a higher chance that Jonathan Taylor goes for over 300 yards than we win the football game.
Which
sucks to say. So it sucks to say 42-17. But, man, it'd be great if we could upset them. But Wisconsin's won 7 years in a row now.
Yeah, and when we'll probably have our worst squad, debatably, of this decade, it's hard to say. Team. It's hard to pick anything other than a pretty dominant win by Wisconsin.
They pride themselves in, that front of the ball, their front seven on both sides, They're good. They have a good O-line. They got a good linebacking core. If we can get turnovers and we can learn how to score in the red zone and learn how to block, then we can win this game. Week. But I feel like that's a big ask at this point, this late in the season.
Yeah, it is.
I'd love to see it. Obviously, again, I'll be there. I'll be screaming my lungs out, hoping for the best.
Yep.
I'll stay there till the end of the game. Bleed Husker red till the day I die, but it's not going to be good, I don't think.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. So, obviously, drop all your comments down below. We love seeing what you guys have to say. You guys always got some interesting takes and some fun comments. So, we really appreciate you guys if you drop all your comments down below. Share the video if you guys really enjoy it. We appreciate you guys' support on social medias. Check us out on Twitter, Backseat Sports YT on Twitter, Backseat Sports on Facebook. And check us out. Interact with us there. We love interacting with you guys on all social media platforms. So, hit us up there. With that said, guys, as always, I'm Josh. That's Caleb. This has been Backseat Sports, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.